All right, everybody, welcome to Mindset Central. My name is Greg Healy, and I am your host. But today we've got some amazing stuff for you, and I want to introduce my wife, Shyla, as the co-host today. I say co-host, but she's actually going to do the driving. Her and this very special guest that we have today, Michelle Peoples. She is an amazing, no nonsense credit collections, medical debt. She's got a wealth of knowledge, and her and Shyla are going to chop it up. And if you, I promise you, are not paying attention to this, then you are going to miss out on some of the greatest information that you have ever heard in your life with regard to medical and collections. So I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to let these two ladies come and take over the stage and do what they do. We're traveling right now. The reason why you see behind me all of this incredible hotel room is because we're traveling. Here she goes, you crazy. So we're traveling, and we're in Kansas City right now, bringing this to you live. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to go and tell all of your friends, everybody that's in the Credit Healing Secrets group, anybody that you can get a hold of right now, let them know that we're live. They need to get on because Michelle Peoples doesn't just show up for everybody, but come on, this is a professional podcast. And so she's showing up for you today. And my wife is extra. So I apologize for that up front, but you guys are going to be okay. You guys are going to be okay. I promise you. I can neither confirm nor deny that there's going to be some shenanigans going on between the two of them, but I'm going to step out of the way and I'm going to let her introduce Michelle, or what she calls her Elle Peeps, to the stage, and then they're going to have their conversation. So without further ado, stay tuned. Matter of fact, go get all your friends. Tell them to come on, get on. Just get on here. I'll do it.
Okay. Oh, it's too short.
No.
Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Shyla D, coming to you with the Credit Tea tonight, Friday, 4:08 Central Standard Time, as my husband has already introduced me. But I want to introduce my friend, my boo, the snack queen, Elle Peeps, the medical debt collection expert, professional. If you go with anybody else, I'm telling you, you're going to the wrong place. What it is, boo.
Hey, thanks for that. For the hype speech. I was over here really cracking up and enjoying it.
I mean, my husband says I'm extra, but then again, if y'all have been tuning in to me, you know I come in with my Credit Bonnet Chronicles. Sometimes I get a little bit live. So today we gonna get raw, not necessarily raw.
Well,
yeah.
So you don't have your bonnet on, but we're
I
in the
don't.
bedroom. I just, like Shyla, you're always going to get personal. This is great.
Can you hand me my bonnet, please?
She going back to the bonnet?
Can you hand me? It's over here, but can you hand me my bonnet, please? All right, so tonight we actually gonna get into. I know we on Mindset Central, but y'all probably recognize me with one of my bonnets.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I'm done. All right. So tonight we are actually going to get into medical debt collections, and we're going to actually go over just some basic, simple information, because what I do have, of course, with me, I handle a lot of personal credit repair. And a lot of people kind of get stuck on medical debt collection. So let me give you a little intro about actually, Miss Elle, if you can give a short intro about yourself. Yes. Please tell the people about you.
Oh, me? Starting where?
Just what got you into the medical field and why this is your lane.
Let me see. This is we're at the end of 2021 here. I spent 25 years in the medical field. I'm retired from the United States Navy, and I spent time as an instructor in emergency medicine. I was the director for emergency medicine for the entire Pacific Rim in the Navy, and we get hurt a lot. Sometimes I don't fall well. And when I say don't fall well, I mean that exactly like I said it. And in the Navy, you're getting paid all the time, so you have to be working all the time. So I spent several years also in administration, billing, things of that nature. Um, I'm trying to give you the really layman's version. Sorry.
That's no. That's okay.
Um, Essentially, after I retired from the military, I wanted to be able to continue to serve. So I was able to take my experience in medical and my experience dealing with finance together. And that's where I started helping people with medical debt collections. That's a super short version. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Just let people know, hey, I'm telling you, when I say she's even taught me some things in the credit repair space for medical debt collection, I was like, I ain't think of it like that. So that's why I wanted to bring her on today with you guys this Friday. Because yes, I can definitely do it, but she's gonna take it a little bit, just a tad bit further. So one of the pet peeves that I cannot stand, and I know she can't either because it drives me crazy, when I see people or experts that says, "Oh, you're doing,"
Don't say it. Don't say it. I'm out.
it's automatic. If you see medical collections on your bureaus, it's an automatic violation. L L one. Not only are they saying it's an automatic violation, two, they also have the acronym wrong, and I'm like, I'm gonna need you to go back to training about what HIPAA actually is. It is not HIPPA. What is
Yep.
that?
There's no hippos.
No, no.
Mhm.
HIPAA. What does
Mhm.
that stand for? Health Insurance
It's
Portability
Portability
and Accountability
Accountability
Act.
Act.
People. Hmm? So, my question to you, Miss L, when people are starting this credit repair process and they are actually seeing these medical debts, or what is a sign that it is a medical debt on their bureaus?
If Venus and Jupiter are in alignment, no, I'm kidding. So when you are looking at a credit report, people see credit reports one of several ways because of technology. People could be looking at it through an app, the green and white app, the blue and white app, the red and white app. There are different ways that people see it. Sometimes people will order a credit report directly from the bureaus, of course, from annualcreditreport.com, or they will get the services of credit monitoring from organizations such as the Credit Healer.
Yes.
So, however they're looking at it is going to determine how it looks exactly. Um, all the techie stuff aside, because that's really above my pay grade. Um, what you'll generally see with a medical debt collection is that it will be reported by a third party, meaning
Third
not the
party.
originating facility, not the place of care, because originating facilities and places of care do not primarily, um, they're not in the business of debt collection. They
Okay.
outsource for that. There is a path that is followed where it becomes a collection. But to answer your specific question, how would I know? You will see the name of a debt collector. In parentheses, you will often see the originating location unless the name of the originating location discloses a diagnosis, i.e., a cancer center.
Okay.
Whereas
Okay.
if it was Sesame Street Hospital, you have no idea where I was in Sesame Street Hospital. And I
Right.
can see the name Sesame Street Hospital when I drive down the road. So there's nothing real private about that. Um, there are lines of information that coordinate with required pieces of information that are furnished. And sometimes you will see the word medical because that's the
Mm.
end of what they can really provide. And that
Right.
would be an indicator that that was a medical debt. Another indicator of a medical debt would be to see no name listed as the originator because
No name. Okay.
it wasn't able to be listed. It has to be scrambled. And unless you're getting that directly from the credit bureau, you can't see the scramble.
Right. Okay.
And
So it's
people
very
use that
important.
as a point to argue, but You got to kind of wait a second. You know, there's a
Right.
reason.
Right. So it's important to still do a credit monitoring service. That way it can notify someone that there is an enter of something on their credit, but it's very particularly important to pull it from the credit bureaus themselves to be able to see. Correct? On the back
You
end,
know,
I should say.
Shyla, I'm really biased when it comes to that, because my life revolves around medical debts. I actually encourage my clients to use the credit monitoring service because they're getting automatic notifications, automatic pop-ups, especially if the work that your credit repair is doing as it's working, I'm getting notified. But I also want to know what the bureau says, because what if they're not communicating everything properly? So I like to
Right.
use some of those free options. The difference with those free options, of course, as you know, is I won't get a score. I'm less
Right.
concerned with the score than I am with the facts.
Oh, come on now. Look, you just
Yes.
I be telling
Yes.
people all the
Yep.
time, look, it's not always
'Cause
about the score. It's about the
yeah,
healthy profile.
and you know, people don't realize this for a long time, but I subscribe to more credit monitoring than I'd probably admit because I'm obsessed with it. But my credit score changes anywhere from 6 to 7 times a day, every day. And it just
Mhm.
depends on what you subscribe to, how those things happen. Um, yeah, unless there's some crises event that occurs, like identity theft or a new
Right.
collection or a late payment, um, which are I have control of a couple of those things and I do things to prevent that from happening. So I'm not as wrapped up in that score.
So I liked what you said right there, preventing it from
Mhm.
happening. So how does someone prevent a medical debt from happening on their credit report? Because a lot of times when I'm pulling clients' files, I know what I can coach and teach, but because you are the expert, I want you to get a little bit more in detail. So when I see it on somebody's profile, I know that it's been about 6 months ago that they had whatever service or about or around. Not here or there,
We
maybe.
hope. We hope.
We hope, right. Uh,
Um,
but how can they prevent it from happening?
Super loaded question. Super loaded, really good question, but a super loaded question.
Okay, so let's just
Um,
start from the very
well,
beginning then.
yeah. So first of all, no one in the world walks over to Mercy Hospital and says, "Hi, I'd like a loan for $2,000." No, it doesn't
Right.
happen. Like we end up there because something bad happened. So
Right.
nobody wants to be there in the first place. Um, how do you prevent it? So, with the exception of birth and death, there's only three ways to enter the medical system.
Okay.
You go to your PCM, your personal doctor, your primary care manager. You go to an urgent care, or
Mhm.
you go to an emergency room. So, if I have insurance and I need to go for a regular checkup, regular appointment, whatever, I'm going to go to my primary care manager. If it's after hours or if I can't wait for an appointment and I'm not missing parts or bleeding to death, but I want to get seen, I could go to an urgent care.
Okay.
If I'm missing parts or I'm bleeding or there's a real deal going on, I'm going to go to the ER. Now, I have insurance, so I can follow that path.
Mhm.
And then every insurance company is going to offer different options for coverage under those visits. Now, for a person who does not have insurance, their only option for care is the emergency room.
So no insurance, their only option is emergency room.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless they have well, even then, there's community programs that are operated under managed care, which is either your Medicare and your Medicaid. And
Okay.
in some communities, they will have what's called a community healthcare center, which is really offering them some primary care, some urgent care options to help with that influx in the ER. But it's still dictated by the managed care system. But if I am, if Big Bird, because I'm superstitious, so I'm going to say Big Bird. If Big
Okay.
Bird doesn't have medical insurance and Big Bird doesn't have Medicare or Medicaid, and Big Bird is bleeding profusely, Big Bird's going to go to Sesame Street emergency room.
Okay.
And under a law, the abbreviation is EMTALA, EMTALA. It basically says you cannot deny me care, or you cannot deny Big Bird care because he doesn't have insurance. You will stabilize him until he is safe.
Okay. And what is that acronym again?
Echo, Mike, Tango, Alpha, Lima, Alpha.
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. So that's EMTALA. You cannot deny someone care for not having insurance if they require life-saving or stabilizing care.
So what do they do then so they don't get a $50,000 home bill because they
Okay.
have no insurance?
So this is where my frustration starts. What is supposed to happen? Oh no, girl, it's not a pretty place.
No,
What's
because I
supposed to happen is
love this
not
part.
happening. And after, because I was in the military, I've traveled around the world and I've seen what a first world country lives like. I've seen what their medical care is like. We have some of the most amazing resources in the world here. And when people don't do what they're supposed to do, I become very frustrated. I've been a little animated in some emergency rooms. You may not be able to believe that, but what's
You
supposed to happen,
know.
girl, what's supposed to happen is if, let's say, Oscar the Grouch is going to go to Sesame Street ER, and he checks in. He really needs medical care. He's got this awful cough. He's obviously very ill, hard time breathing. He needs care. He goes in there, tells him he doesn't have insurance. What's supposed to happen is this facility is now supposed to, he should be flagged right at admissions because he doesn't have insurance. And hospitals can't run for free. And they know this. Someone comes over during that ER visit, assuming that he's not in the midst of receiving life-saving care, and says, I see that you checked in today without an insurance plan listed. Have you ever applied for a Medicaid or Medicare, or can I help you do that? Here are the resources for you. These documents are already prepared, and not enough people know about this, so I love opportunities to talk to people about this. Now, some of the hospitals that I talk to, because I do a lot of outreach.
Okay.
Sometimes I do it in person. Sometimes I will pick a state and start making phone calls. And
Okay.
some places have told me we're short-staffed. We don't have the case managers. We don't have this. Pero mira, you are a 501c3 organization. You are receiving the IRS tax benefits of this. And this is why I write grants for medical debts. This is why I have these conversations. This is why I'm working with people. This is why I'm educating people. What's supposed to be happening is not happening. These people are left in the wind, and then the panic happens. And, well, I won't jump ahead to that. I'll try to stay right here. But
That's
we talk about how to prevent that. So the first thing that we want to do is make sure that we have our ID with us when we go to the hospital and that the address is correct and current. If the address on your
has to have
ID,
the correct address.
it should always, but we know that stuff happens, and then COVID, because I'm going to blame COVID for everything.
Right.
If you have the wrong address and they send the bill to the wrong place, or if they say, well, we sent a bill, but you didn't get it, it's not their fault you didn't receive it. And that could, so people will use that as an excuse. That's not good. That's not good.
Right.
In some states, hospitals are putting liens on people's property.
Ooh.
There are other states that are doing bench warrants.
Bench
And
warrants.
yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
For medical debt?
Yes. So it is extreme. In New Mexico and Colorado, they recently instituted law. It went into effect on July 1st that said that if a person is in a managed care situation, if they're living at 200% of the poverty guidelines, you cannot pursue them. You cannot use all these different means of pursuit because they're already living in a compromised means.
Right.
So yeah, and there are some states that are collecting much more aggressively than others. Um, and a lot of it starts with when you check in. If you don't have insurance, tell them you don't have insurance. If you know you can't pay the bill and at the ER, look at that person and say, I need financial assistance. In the admissions paperwork, there's actually a spot for that admissions person to indicate this person is requesting financial assistance.
Now, are they supposed to give it to you right then and there, or they put you in contact with the billing department to receive that financial assistance?
That is an awesome question. Different facilities are telling me different things. Some facilities will say, we don't have the staff. So what we do is we forward that over. Some facilities will actually have someone come in. It's supposed to be part of the admissions and case management. After hours, this becomes more of a challenge, especially on nights where, the ER is slammed. But if you have a medical bill that is less than 180 days, can we go there?
Go ahead.
100,
Yes.
okay. If you have a medical bill that's less than 180 days old, that's when you have the absolute most power to make a difference and make
So,
changes.
question right there. So, a medical bill that's 180 days old, does it go from the service date or just when they receive the bill?
That is an amazing question. Now, here's the answer to that. It's almost, you would think we planned it, but we didn't. And that is beautiful. So, if I go to the fish joint to order some food,
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to give me my food until I pay for it. They know my order when I walk in, but they're not going to give me the food until I pay for it. So it was due at time of service. You go get an oil change, you're not going to get your car. You get tires, you get work done. You got to pay to get your stuff.
Yes.
So when you go into a hospital or a doctor's office, you'll see that there is signs posted. Payment is due at time of service. So the presentation of that insurance card is payment.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledgement that you don't have insurance happens on the form. They'll say, what's the name of your insurance company? None. Or me. There's no
me.
insurance. So they know it right away. And it's marked. It is clearly marked. No insurance. So what some ERs will do when they see that a person doesn't have insurance, they will say, okay, they'll purposely do things to not create more expense. Like, okay, I'm going to give you this and this. You have an option. You can go to the drugstore and buy this, so then it's not added to your bill.
Okay.
And very frank discussions happen. And a lot of people don't realize that, but an ER doctor, they can see that there's no insurance. They don't want to create more of a bill for you because what they're doing is they're spending money that the hospital is not being compensated for. Where the disconnect is, ER docs don't have time to worry about these things because they have to get to the next person. So what I do is I talk to people in emergency rooms because I spent years working in them and saying, hey, here's a step this needs to happen. Or can I get your administration to post signs that say this? Can you commit to me that you will post a sign that says this is the number to call for financial assistance in every single room? Can you do that for me? I'd love to see a picture of it. Hey, can I get you to advertise this program because I looked it up and your state offers this? But people don't know. And I'm happy to be a nag because I have no shame.
That's what we do, though.
Yes. And this, I just feel like that's what I'm called to do. This is how I'm going to continue to serve, is make sure people know about this. So when you go to the hospital, you know you can't pay, say you can't pay. Now, in that first 180 days, this is where you have the power. If the bill is, I don't want to say a number because everything is different. If it's something you know you could make payments on, I'm going to say $100 because it's a round number, but everybody knows that not many things cost $100. Let's say the bill's $100 and you're like, okay, I can give you $25 a month. It'll be paid off in 4 months. That beats the 6-month mark. Is that good? And you're talking to the billing personnel and they agree to it. I need it in writing, please.
Hello, in writing.
Because we never pay the first bill because you always want to verify, because computers don't make mistakes, humans do.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I read some of y'all text messages. We make typos, okay? Mistakes are happening out here.
All the time.
So I always want people to, double check that bill, double check the bill, double check the bill. And I did an entire class on how to read the bill or an EOB, and people were mind blown. So
wait,
that's
EOB,
always
EOB. For people that
sorry,
don't know what EOB,
explanation of benefits, and you'll only see one if you have insurance.
yes,
Because by law, the insurance company has to tell you what they were billed and what they paid.
Okay, so they don't contact their employers; they need to contact the insurance company.
Yep, your employer doesn't have access to that specific information. Your employer just knows that you have insurance.
Right.
The employer will get access to certain information if you file workman's comp, but even then you sign for it.
Correct. So it's important to look at those statements and keep in contact with what is going on with your insurance. So your employer, because most people get insurance from their employer.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I like to tell clients. I'm like, I understand your employer said that you were supposed to be 100% covered for primary care, and some people automatically think it covers urgent care and ER visits too, and that's not the case. So I have to tell them, I need you to go back to your insurance company and get what your actual benefits are and what the deductibles are. If you can provide me that information, I can show you where it should be.
Yeah. So here's the thing with that. When people, whoever their insurance company is, they can log into it online. Thank goodness. And then you see your first page. It's going to have your name, beneficiary, who else is covered in the plan. Scroll down, then you're going to have your terms of service. So there are terms that people need to know, like deductible, copay, coinsurance. When does this happen? When does this kick in? What are the percentages? And they look at that and they go, I don't know what to do. And then there's network and in-network. So in the first set of pages, or if you log in through your phone, you're just literally, that's why I'm like this, you're just scrolling down. A co-payment is a payment that I have to pay each time I receive that kind of care. So it'll say outpatient or primary care or inpatient, meaning you've been admitted, not a 23-hour stay in the ER. Anything that is exactly 24 hours or greater.
24 hours or greater. Okay.
Yeah, 23 hours and 59 minutes could happen in an emergency room.
Good point.
And it's exactly seen, it's got to be less than 24 hours. More than that, you could be considered an inpatient, or you've been admitted, or they'll call it a hold. And they have to declare it a hold, meaning there wasn't a bed. There was another reason that was held up that had nothing to do with your care, so that the insurance doesn't deny the claim.
Okay. So our time stops pretty much because of the hold.
Not exactly. Depends, because you still needed care during that time. There's so many things that happen. It all has to be documented appropriately. And that's another thing. This is why I tell people, when you get the hospital bill, people look at it and they'll throw it. I cannot tell you how many clients bring me stuff that's never been opened, never. Not never. So,
not ever.
Girl, I hosted an entire Zoom once because I had a group. I called them my troubled kids. I said, look, y'all, we're going to open mail together on Tuesday. Ready?
They weren't ready.
You can all turn your cameras off so you can have your privacy. We're going to open our mail together. I'm going to tell you how to put it in piles.
Ready.
And because people, it's emotional. Because nobody walks into the Bank of St. Joe's and says, can I get a loan? No one does that. So when you get a medical debt, it's attached to an issue. There's an emotional response to seeing a medical bill. Parents should not be made to feel guilty because they got their kid medical care. And for that reason, I need people to know that there's resources. Ignoring it is the opposite of what you should do. You
You
get the
need to
medical
be
bill,
acknowledging it.
open
Yes.
it up. Let's look at it. And for example, I had one company referred me someone for medical bills, and the lady had been in a car accident, very extensive bills. And she said the insurance company had denied this portion of things. I said, okay, so get me all your EOBs, explanation of benefits, get me all your bills, and let's look at them. And it's just line for line. Okay, this goes with this, check. This goes with, wait a minute, what is this? What did you injure? Your knee. You had knee surgery? Okay, this code right here is wrong. It's for an elbow. So two numbers were transposed,
Right.
which happens. We're human. And when it got run through the insurance system, it was a mistake. The entire claim was denied because those are all the things that were entered as part of that claim.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't owe $35,000. Oh, by the way, you owe $1,350,
Hello.
and let's go ahead and see if we can write a grant for that because it's less than 180 days.
Right.
So, and some people are eligible. Um, depending on the diagnoses. So that's something else I talk to people about, and that's why we get personal with those things. Um, but you have to engage. You can't just leave it on the counter. And
So
it is
just
difficult.
because it's a medical and we understand there's so much going on, especially with COVID Lachey out here knocking everybody over and stuff. And
You
it can
said
be
COVID
overwhelming.
Lachey,
I did.
girl.
Because she out
I
here
can't.
doing all kinds of
She
stuff
just
and she
doing
having
the
all kinds of
most,
babies.
right?
She's having Delta, Omarions, and all kinds of stuff out here. She having all kinds of babies out
Mhm.
here in these streets, and we don't like her.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it's a very emotional and just opening mail, what I found for a lot of people is overwhelming. And then they see, oh well, I know I went to the hospital. I ain't got time. I ain't never paying that. But that's not what you want to do. So just as much as you like to inspect your paycheck and you say, run me them coins, you
Mhm.
need to be inspecting. I
Yeah,
mean, medical,
because hospitals can't run for free.
they really can't.
But because of COVID, another issue that I've run into that I have not talked about enough is people who had ER visits in February of 2020,
Come on, unpack it, sis.
and we didn't know what we didn't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
What I've done is I've actually pulled those, and because I'm an advocate, I have access to other information. We pull those, I pull the records, pull this, and I say, hey, I want this submitted for FEMA coverage. This is not a bill that they're going to pay.
FEMA coverage? So FEMA could
Yep.
cover. Okay.
Yes, 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 yes. That's a short version.
Right.
Don't don't hold up. Y'all gonna all quote me on that one. But if a person was diagnosed with COVID and as a result lost that battle, the bills that resulted from that care and the loss of that loved one, FEMA has been helping with those bills. But there are steps that have to be followed and paperwork that has to be filled out. And it's very specific. But that is a resource.
Right.
Also, people that I found that had symptoms that ended up being COVID, but we didn't know was COVID, and they have all these medical bills, we've submitted those also. There are some other grants that are covering those things because they were outside of the realms of anything we could control.
Okay.
And as far as the medical codes that are attached to care and diagnoses, they had to make things up on the fly for this as it went. So
Right.
there are people who have bills and they're like, I don't know what to do about this. That's okay. They didn't know either. Let's help you get that figured out.
So how can they tell what the code is? Like I would know. I've done just a tad bit, and it was over my head. But like the ICD-9 codes, and when it does it for descriptions, I know what to look for. But that's something. It's 10 now, right? When I was going to school, it was 9, and they was just introducing 10 at the time. But I would definitely know what to look for. But how can the average consumer figure out what it is for? So they're getting their statement, they're seeing these numbers. It should come with the explanation, but sometimes these don't come with explanations.
But that would take up a lot of room and a lot of time, and that costs more money.
Right.
So when you look at a medical bill,
Mm-hmm.
you should see the name of the place, of course. Every patient has an account number. They can't use social security numbers anymore, so they use a different number called an MRN, medical record number. Most facilities have also transitioned to EHR, which is electronic health records. Some places will use a guarantor number, meaning who the insurance is under. And you should first see your date of service, or DOS, date of service.
Yes.
Then you will see some numbers that don't make sense. That's okay. You will see something that says CPT, your procedure, or if you see DX is diagnosis. So I will give you one example only, because we're not going to dive into how insane that whole world is.
Right.
But if you have a 99283, which would be a moderate level emergency room visit, it lets me know the number of minutes that you were there. It lets me know that you at least had some blood drawn and you needed moderate care.
Okay.
And then there would be you have to have a code for service. There has to be a diagnosis attached to it for insurance to pay this. Okay. A diagnosis can only be given to you by a physician assistant, a nurse practitioner. Like, someone has to have that level of licensure. And because we want to make sure that it's proven that this person was seen for this thing. And if you work that backwards, people go, well, I don't understand this. Because of fraud, there were things that people got away with, people who were supposed to be trusted with that information. So as a result, we want to prevent these things, and this is why these things must be done this way.
So me as a regular consumer, I know nothing about credit repair. I see this information on my bureaus. And because I've listened to Elle Peoples and Shyla Healey on this broadcast, now I'm about to sit here and pull and get with my insurance company. What does this code mean? Why is this happening? When could this happen? And getting the detail to find out where it came from.
Okay, so here's what's more important. What's on the credit report is not what's on that hospital bill, and it bet not be.
Okay, come on.
Or we're making a different phone call. So on the credit bureau report, you're going to see an amount owed.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's going to be this other thing that gets me mad, and it's the date open.
And the date open is always going to be different from the DOS, or the date of service.
Mm-hmm. So that date open is not the date of first delinquency. It's not the date of care. In fact, the Medical Debt Relief Act of 2018 declared that, and the NCAP, the National Consumer Assistance Plan, that a medical debt cannot be on a credit report for 180 days. And if it is, you better call Shyla so she can tell you what to do next.
Come on now.
Because we're going to come for them.
We coming for them. Violating every last one of them.
Yeah. Now, so just looking at what's on the credit report itself, another really big issue that's unfortunately really common is you'll see two different amounts on the same credit report. So unless that person had engaged in a payment plan that was not completed at the time that it transitioned into collections, then that's a problem. They need to call you about that also,
Now, why would
because
they call? Yeah, okay.
there's 3 signatures that happen when you sign into the hospital. One is for HIPAA, one
HIPAA,
is
not
consent
hippo.
to treat, and one is TPHCO specific. So the TPHCO provision of HIPAA is treatment, payment, and healthcare operations. And it's written in 3 to 6 separate paragraphs that people don't read because they're signing because they want to get in or they want to get out. They're not paying attention to it. So then later when they want to dispute it, I say, hold up, see, right, this just right there.
What you just initialed right there.
So you consent to someone touching you. You consent to someone asking you these questions, walking to a room, having this conversation. Somebody else is handing your chart to another person. This person send it to X-ray. The X-ray person's going to see it. This one give to lab. The lab person's going to see it. They're letting you know people are going to see your business because they're engaged in your care.
And that's that third form that we signed off on.
No, I mean, it could be in different orders,
Right, right.
it just HIPAA itself is where people get confused. So Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act turned 25 in August of this year. It originally was something that just read like stereo instructions in 3 different languages and it was really boring. They wanted to make sure insurance was portable.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance needed to be portable. What happens if I don't use all my benefits in this year? Do they roll over? What if I get married? What happens this? What if I have a kid? What if I get promoted? What if this happens? What if I'm still with the company and then this happens? What if this? So they had to write laws about all these things. It didn't become about privacy until 2003 during the entire omnibus rule when technology happened. And we were
Ooh.
using technology to communicate, and people said, "Oh, whoa, snap! Wait a second, you're going to put that where?" So people started having conversations about HIPAA, and then they created these templates. People started selling them online, and they were really relevant in 2003.
Airing out everybody's dirty laundry.
Yes, but when people started trying to have those same conversations about now, this is a completely different time, different laws, different safeguards, and you still cannot abuse a person's medical privacy. A
Right.
person still has a right to medical privacy, but people are not applying the laws correctly. And in fact, some laws are even in the process of being reviewed because changes in technology, changes in processes,
Right.
changes in the debt collection laws.
Ooh,
Um,
that's something totally different.
yeah,
I mean,
I'm
not different,
like,
but
that's why I'm
with
like, hold on, come back, come back. Yeah. So what matters first is that you open your mail when you get it. When you get medical care, make sure they have your correct address. And if you don't have insurance, can't pay, tell them right on the spot, I need help. They're not going to say, get out. They can't.
they can't, not
No one's
legally.
going to kick you out.
Right.
Um, and then when you get your credit report, look at it, ask questions. People have to answer you.
Right.
It's okay. And, people want to get afraid of it. Why? It's yours. They'd
Because
be
you
like,
need
if
to
I
know.
didn't brush my teeth because I was afraid of, I don't want to see a cavity, I'm not going to brush my teeth. That makes no sense.
You're going to get a cavity because you didn't.
You're going to get a cavity because you didn't brush your teeth. Or, I don't want to get fat, so I'm not going to eat. You can't live without food. I can't live without food.
Me neither. Me
I don't want to
neither.
drink water. It tastes bad. Okay. You can't survive without water. So uh, it's awkward and uncomfortable to talk about those things. And that's why I talk about them.
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. You have unpacked so much in this little bit
It's
of time
hard.
frame.
Yeah, it's hard to cover
Yeah.
a lot and not get too deep in there. But
So what we have learned is one, you go to the hospital. If you don't have insurance, you need to be letting them know that you don't have insurance. definitely
they're
letting
going to
them know right
ask
up
you.
front.
Yeah. And if you don't have
Right.
insurance, you just tell them.
Just
I
tell
have
them you don't
insurance.
have insurance. Don't lie about it because they're gonna find out either way.
Mhm.
Two, if you do have insurance, one, you probably need to be going to the urgent care or the primary care physician first before the
If you
ER.
do have insurance, yeah. In fact, some people's medical bills, that's how they happen. Um, if if Big Bird stubs his great big giant toe and he goes to the ER, some ERs have a fast track section where they will urgent care you. It
Oh,
keeps
okay.
their beds open and they can get you what you need and get you out. Especially, if you come in and it's after hours. If if you go to an urgent care and you need care that is of a higher level, they'll tell you, I need you to go to the ER or I can call you an ambulance. But no, we
Right.
want to, you should go over there. But if there was an ER, if there was an urgent care in network, because that's your middle level care, if there was an urgent care in network and you passed it up to go to an emergency room, your insurance could deny paying it. And some insurance, and it says it right on the insurance profile when it says what they cover and what they don't cover, they'll
ER not
tell you, we're going to pay this percent of your ER visit. We do not pay ER physician bills. People go, I don't understand.
what?
So the ER doctor has a different bill than the ER facility.
Yes.
It's a separate
Yes.
bill.
And a lot of people don't understand why they're getting 2 to 3 separate bills. Like, wait, I
Mhm.
didn't go to LabCorp. Only thing I did was go to the ER. So why am I getting this from?
Mhm.
I've never been to that physician's office. It's because of that right there, right?
Yep. And the law is going to change on January 1st, 2022, and it has to do with balance billing.
Yes, that'll
So
be
that is
something we touch on.
another disaster that happens um, if I go to the ER and in this scenario, say you're a doctor and Greg's a doctor.
Dr. Healy's.
Hey.
Okay.
So I go to this hospital because it's in network for me and my insurance says they cover it.
Hmm.
And you happen to be on that night and you come in and you see me and I've got all these other issues and broken bones. So Greg comes in, he's the orthopedic guy, and he's okay. What's wrong with you? Okay, cool. All right, great. Yep, that's great. High five. Now you're out. So then you were in network for me. So it was covered in my thing, got a little $25 copay. Greg was not in network for me. I have a $6,000 bill. What? First of
What?
all, it's not my job to call the hospital, find out who's on staff and what insurance they're credentialed with.
Right.
So that is balance at billing, where if someone that was there was out of network, some other thing that can't be billed, that they take the difference of that and bill the patient. No, that is a
No.
loss to the hospital. It's the hospital's responsibility to ensure that those on staff are credentialed the same way, if you're a system or you're a network. And that's a whole nother show. But
Whew.
January 1st, yes.
Right. Yeah, that's after January. We'll actually, hopefully, we'll be able to bring Miss LPs back for that. But let me go ahead and get this also out of the way. So people are doing these electronic signatures, which I've noticed some people, they're like, yeah, you're agreeing that you said that you received the HIPAA form and the financial billing, and they just signed saying they got it, but they never actually got it. Can you touch just quickly on that one before we go?
Yes. Um, happened to me recently.
Really?
Yeah, it was a fun day. I won't say the name of the place,
Right, right,
but
right.
I went to the doctor and yeah. So a lot of people want to do forms electronically.
Hmm.
If you go into an ER, if you go into a doctor's office, you're signing on site. But some of the small offices, when I say small, I mean like your primary care, your optical, your dental, they'll be like, hey, we're going to send you all this stuff online. And they believe it saves checkout time. And people are just zipping through the forms. And in that, they're signing their HIPAA release. And people always assume HIPAA just has to do with privacy. No, your
Yeah.
treatment, payment, and healthcare operations is in there too. So you agree to treatment, you agree to payment and healthcare operations, means the processes that are involved in running your tests, processing your bill, or performing debt collection for unpaid bills. You already
Ooh,
authorized it. You
that
already
right there.
authorized it right there. People be like, you violated my rights. These
No,
rights?
the ones that
These
you
rights
signed
right
for.
here that you signed for? Yep. So I'll be in these credit repair groups and I get screamingly frustrated. And people who know me, they'll be like tagging me. I'm like, stop tagging me. My head's gonna come off.
I don't
And
even
people will
tag
argue
you.
with me about it, and I get to the point where I just go, okay,
I laugh
okay.
because I'm like, okay, I see a lot of these newly credit
Experts.
experts and
Mhm.
gurus that, oh, well, just send them a HIPAA violation and blah blah. You didn't sign for this, and I'm like, no, 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 stop.
You signed
Time
for it
out.
right there.
Wake up. You actually did sign for it. You just don't realize you signed for it because you didn't read the disclosures.
Yeah. But the problem, we were talking about electronic signatures. Sometimes an electronic signature will happen and it'll say you received this document. People, you have a right to say, put your hand out. And I encourage you to, if you've never read it, put your hand out and say, may I please have a HIPAA disclosure? I'd really like to read it.
Like I want it in my hand.
Everywhere I go, I ask for it just to see if they have it.
Yes. And what if they
Yeah.
don't have it?
Oh, I'm not the one.
I know you're not the one. But
Mm-mm.
what does a normal person that don't have all this wealth of knowledge do if they don't have it?
Ask to see the privacy officer in the hospital.
Privacy. Did y'all hear that, people? You ask
Ask
for
for the privacy officer because that's the expert. The premier expert in that institution who decide privacy officer. That's who you ask for. And then the privacy officer is going to come down right away with it in their hand. I'm so sorry that we didn't have one. I'll make sure that more copies are made. Thank you. Easiest
great.
person to talk to in the whole hospital is privacy officer.
But what if it's like 10 o'clock at night, the privacy officer isn't there and they still don't get it? Can they go back? Can they ask, like, you know what? Let me
They
go
could
back
probably go
and
online to
check
their
that.
website and print it up.
Right. I hope they
I mean,
do.
because there is an organization called the Joint Commission for Accreditation of Hospitals. We used to call it JACO back in the day. They inspect hospitals regularly, and hospitals get shut down for not passing inspections.
Come on now.
So there's very rigorous steps and checks and balances in place already. So I in no way mean to minimize that process ever. I would never. But I need people to understand their rights and also their role in the process. You have to be your own advocate. You have to speak up. Every time you go into a hospital, into an emergency room or a hospital entrance, you'll see something on the wall that says Patient Bill of Rights. And if you've never paid attention to it, read it. You have a right to question what's going on. You have a right to ask questions about your care. You have a right to have your bill explained. You're entitled to these things.
And ask
You're
as many.
entitled to
It
them.
doesn't matter if it gets on their nerves or not.
Yeah,
Keep
for sure.
asking what it is.
Mhm.
Period.
But
Don't.
the other thing, I think that people don't understand is the person who's working at the desk, either in admissions or in reception at the doctor's office, oftentimes people will want to ask them questions about their insurance. And what they don't understand is they're actually not allowed to answer. And here's why. Hundreds of thousands of different employers in the world means hundreds of thousands of different kinds of insurance coverage. It's about
Ah,
what the employer bought into. So just because somebody has red pen medical insurance and you have red pen medical insurance doesn't mean you have the same plan.
right. So Blue Cross Blue Shields is not the same as
Eek, we
Blue
don't
Cross
say
Blue.
names. We don't say names of insurance.
No,
I can't. I'm not allowed to say names of insurance. Okay,
no,
but
no.
yeah, there's
But that's an example
alphabet
though.
soup. Yeah,
Yes.
alphabet soup medical insurance. Um, they all have different kinds of coverage, and it's about what the employer paid into.
Yes, yes, yes. So don't necessarily get frustrated, people, if they cannot answer your question right then and there,
Yeah,
but
they
ask
can't.
them who can answer the
Yes.
questions that you are needing answered.
And they're going to say, call that 1-800 number on the back of your car.
Right.
But, and here's another thing, when you call the 1-800 number on the back of the card, what people don't always know is that conversation is required to be documented. And anytime you talk to someone from your insurance company, always ask them for the reference number, because it's part of medical legal documentation on their file.
You just spoke my love language. You said ask
Aw.
for the what? The reference number?
There is a reference number that has to be documented for every conversation that happens.
So this is also something we should be asking for debt collectors too, right? I'm just saying that's
For
just a little
who?
bit for debt collectors
What's
as
that?
well. These people that's calling me saying I owe such a bill or whatever. I'm sorry,
Who?
who are you from? From where? I'm
I
sorry, what's your
enjoy
reference number?
I enjoy conversations with debt collectors because it's an opportunity for us to see eye to eye and to receive education and embrace our differences as strengths.
Yeah. I
Can
I
you
have to
imagine
listen
somebody
because
working with us for an entire day?
look, look. I know I
Your
drive my husband
face
crazy.
would hurt from laughing so hard.
I know people like, how could you have been a collector? I used to do collections before, so when
I
collectors call me,
can't
I
even
love.
imagine. I would want to be in the desk next to you all day
But
long. Because they'd be
but
like, psst, psst, child, psst, psst, what are you doing? Hey, hey, shh, hey, watch this. All day, all day. You would get nothing done.
I was a hot mess. I'll just say that. I'm not going to say the company I work for. I'll just say I was a hot mess, and yeah, let's just leave it there. But I love it when collectors try to call or whatever, because I'm like, and you said what? Oh well, I don't have this. No, you do, and I know you do. You said this call is what, and so is yours. Oh well, you can't. Oh well, let's go ahead and end this call. Look, I have a whole field day, so yes, I understand. I understand. All right, so we are
See,
actually.
I'm nice.
You're nice.
I'm nice. Like when I call, well, there's one place I call and they'll go,
They already know.
I'm like, hi. I sent one Uber Eats when we got done.
What kind of trouble did you give them?
Well, I had called a certain debt collector because the client's debt was actually paid. It was paid at the hospital.
Oh.
And I saw it in the credit report and I said, I handled that personally months ago. I was like, no problem. I got it. Do you want to sit on the phone for this? Okay. So I called and I said, hey, I'm gonna need the reference number from the call on such and such day. Okay, I had to put you on hold. No problem. I said, P.S. Tell him it's L.
They probably threw the phone. Like,
Put me on hold. And then a couple seconds later, this young person comes back on the phone and goes, hey, that girl's on the phone and she's asking for this file and we don't have that. I don't know where it is. What do I do? And I said, oh, you're new, huh? He goes, what? And I said, this is L. I'll take your manager, please. He said, what? And I said, whoever's above the person that's above the person that you were just talking to. Came to the
they
phone,
had
was
no
like,
clue.
hi. And I said, how you doing? So you can fax the proof of that deletion to
Thank you.
and I said, what was the name of that guy? And he goes, don't. And I said, I just want to know his name. So I sent him Uber Eats.
Probably had them shaking.
I was like, I'm not going to be mean. What you just did was horrible, but I'm not going to be mean, you know. I shouldn't even be having this conversation. This is going to be on some other public channel later. God.
No, that's we didn't say no names. We didn't say no
No.
companies. Nothing. So we're
I
good.
just think that, you know
So
what? I think that people should pay their bills, and I think that facts should be documented appropriately. And if they're not documented appropriately, then that's a problem. I think that people should be treated with respect and kindness and empathy. And if you're a jerk, I'm going to handle you appropriately. You know, it's just not, it's not necessary. People being rude or unprofessional on the phone, for what?
For what? Yeah.
You know, when
It's not
people,
that
I
deep.
think, yeah, like they get credit. Like, first of all, I know who my daddy is. You ain't him. So I'm not sure who you raised your voice at just now, but we can start all over again.
What's that TikTok? Who said that? What?
No,
Yes,
girl,
right. All right. So I don't want to keep you any longer
let me
because I'm
stop because I know we
hungry.
get crazy.
We do, but you know what? I'm gonna have to have you come back because I already know that I'm gonna have a large request for people to actually want you to come back because this is a largely top
Well, I know
subject.
that we probably didn't give people a lot of warning, but you know, if you have people that want to do any kind of Q&A and you want to set it up, I'm game.
Okay, okay. Well, I will
Only
actually
because it's
definitely
you.
look. That's my baby. That's my Elle Peoples, y'all. That's my
Only
boo right
because it's
there.
you. Yeah,
Look, y'all
because
can't
you're
just
my
reach out to
girl.
her without going through me. No, I'm joking. No.
No, I
No.
actually, as you know, there's the filter to get to me is strong.
Look, the strong
Luna
the
is not
structure is
playing games,
she
y'all.
don't like she.
Mhm,
I'm like, look, I even though I know you personally, I still go to Luna. Like,
mhm.
Luna, how can I? Is
Yep.
this okay? Look, so here's a couple of questions that I'm gonna have to end out. So it asks, what if somebody wants to get a hold of you? We just said, oh,
So if
wants to
somebody
work
wants
with
to get a
you,
hold of me personally,
to work
unless
with you.
unless there are a number of ways to make that happen. Right now, I'm booked out to the middle of January, but if they went to you directly, that's the only way to get to me.
All right. All right. And then I have to go through Luna to get to. Yep. I got you.
Yeah, but the thing is, I follow a very strict process because I make sure that I I'm all about the rules. I follow the
Right.
rules.
Right.
I'm also not above being bribed with food.
Look, I am sending you some. What kind of snacks you like? What's your favorite snacks? Hot Cheetos?
Ugh, I don't like hot Cheetos.
I don't either.
I
But
know, right? Isn't that weird that I don't like hot Cheetos?
for some reason, because Hot Cheetos has been on my mind because of the kids. I don't know why, but I can't stand it.
Oh, you don't like them either?
No, I hate them.
See, my son likes them. Your
Yeah, my
kids eat
kids
them?
love them. I
Ugh.
can't get with them. Okay,
Mm-mm.
so to get or a hold of you or to work with you, they would have to come through me, Shyla
So
Healey.
there is a referral process to come to me. I have a few different businesses over
Right.
here in my area of Illinois, but I also work by referral from other credit repair organizations, and there is a very specific process to do that. There's a screening process to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know for your Kansas City and your Texas
Mm-hmm.
folks, yep, the only path is you
My credit
because.
healer, y'all.
Mhm. And then, there's some things can be done as a conversation, some things can be done without a conversation, and some things can be done with snacks. I mean, it's all, there's always a way.
All right. So for you guys that are listening, and that is of course the Credit Heal Tribe with my credit healer. Elle, could you tell them what your favorite snack is so I can send it to you? Because I'm pretty sure they're gonna be like, look, I need you to get with Elle
Mm.
about this, and I need to send her snacks. I'm gonna have to send the snacks. So what snack is that?
I don't eat beef and pork.
No beef or pork, okay. Okay.
The end. Like, clearly, I'm not missing no meals. Okay, your girl likes to eat over here.
Everything else is good. Okay, so look, so if y'all want to get on her books, one, you have to get through
Someone
me
actually
first.
suggested to me that I make a snack list. I might do that.
I need you to put up your top 5 snack
No, she
list.
just did it. She just said, "I don't eat beef and pork." The end.
I mean, great, but yeah, true.
That's a very succinct list.
It is.
It's
Don't eat beef and pork.
important because
Anything else?
like one of my colleagues, every time we're on the phone, they're eating pork rinds, and I'm like, what's happening here? But
Oh,
I wouldn't want pork rinds as a snack.
right. But we could do anything else. Anything else. Okay, cool. So
But I can't wait. I can't wait to come and meet you in person.
look,
We'll have so
I'm
much
having.
fun.
Yeah, so either when I come back to Kansas City and you come to Missouri, or look, we're supposed to be making the trip to Illinois anyway. We're gonna have to meet up.
Hey,
Yes, we are going to have to meet up.
well, yeah,
Yes.
let me know. Let me know.
All right, you guys. So it is actually a little bit past the hour. I definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in with Shyla Healey and with the Elle Peoples. That's my girl. You can't get to her without getting
Hey.
to me first. I'm pretty sure we are going to be welcoming her back to get more Q&A answers done. So if you have questions, either drop them in the comments here. I've already invited her into the Credit Healing Secrets group. So hopefully between her and her assistant, they can actually answer whatever that is needed in the group. Or you can message us and we'll have a whole Q&A session lined up and we'll schedule that out because
That would be the best thing to do, and then
Yeah.
we can come back in the group, and
definitely
that way it's
we
still private.
Yeah, definitely. We can definitely do that. We'll set that up and I'll get with Luna on that. Is there anything else that you can think of, Mr. Healy?
Since she invited me back into the camera space. I love this one camera deal. This is awesome. Elle, you're amazing. Thank you
Thanks,
for all
brother.
of
I
you.
appreciate
This
you.
is the
Thanks for the
bomb.
invite.
Look, now this is my turn. Look, now. Like
Look, you
I
ain't
don't
gonna
need you to co-sign.
Look, she is the bomb.com.
Look, I need
She is
you to
Mr.
understand the
Ish.
assignment.
Her energy.
Did
I
he
did
just-
understand the assignment.
Wow. You
He
knocked her
did.
whole earring off. I'm going to call
No,
the
no, I
people.
didn't.
Yes, she did. That's what I did.
Oh, I'm going to call the people. We're all witnesses. We're all witnesses.
Hey, call them. Stop buying cheap earrings. You won't have that problem. Anyway.
Look, he done talked about a black side. Look, now I have to take the other one off. Look, I'm done.
Take your shoes off. Let's go.
Look, they're already off.
Anyway.
Look,
They
you
waited
gotta-
till the end to miss the entertainment. If you didn't stay
Can't.
till the end, you didn't get the treat.
look.
Look.
Well, we appreciate everything that you do.
I
You are
appreciate you. Thank
an
you
amazing
so
force,
much. It's a
and
pleasure
you
to
are-
serve.
Yeah, oh yeah. But your heart to serve, your like one of our coaches said, make your broom to serve bigger than your ego.
Come on.
And you've done that, and you help the people, and that's amazing. And we want, if people wanted to can they go to your website or something? Is there services they can buy from you, or how do they, aside from just going through Shyla to get work done? I mean, is there
I
something?
told you I'm a bully.
We
Is
could
there-
talk about that on a future episode.
Okay, cool. So I'll leave it at that. But I really appreciate. We need to have further conversation, especially about
Can't
what we
wait,
started.
man. Can't wait.
So
Well, I definitely appreciate it. I don't know how you end this out or anything like that. So hold on.
I'm Greg Healy, and this is Mindset Central.
See y'all.
Stay tuned. Hold on.